my colleague here, but I want to start with Professor Pahlavi. I want to know what your thoughts are, given your response to, I think, to another testimony about whether you think Canada is naive for their, frankly, slow nature in not listing or refusal to list the IRGC, which you clearly agree with.
Oui, j'abonderai.
Yes, I agree with that comment. Canada in the international community seems naive and not wanting to act in this situation. And the idea that we're not affected by what's happening in Iran is a mistake and a moral problem.
And what do you believe that it will do for the diaspora community here to know that calling a terrorist would maybe help? Or the second question, actually, is what do you think it will do to our international standing with some of those who I think have been putting pressure on us to act more vigorously when it comes to calling a terrorist a terrorist?
Alors, je dirais que ce serait une décision qui...
So I would say that that would be a decision.
Alors, je dirais que si...
So I would say that if Canada were to take the decision to list the IRGC on the international list of terrorists, it would be perceived very positively by many of our compatriots of Iranian origin living here in Canada. And this would most certainly contribute to a better perception of Canada. The Americans have already placed this group on the list, and I think we would seem much more serious if we decided to do it.
Thank you. Thanks to Dr. Juno. You said that Canada doesn't have or doesn't do enough to combat IRGC. We know that, as no secrets, there's all this money laundering operation in Canada, IRGC, Hezbollah, the Hells Angels. There's car dealerships are owned in Ontario by these groups. The cars thefts in Canada and exports to overseas. It's just another act of money laundering is happening every day. Real estate, however, retail, money exchange, all these operations are obvious there. And we're still not doing anything about it. It's hurting the Canadian economy more than anything and the Canadian people. The safety, the security, the inflation, it's hurting everywhere. Why, in your opinion, why we're not doing anything about that? Why?
Why is hard for me to say. I would say that in general, Canada does not do enough on the national security front. I think that's true in general on multiple threats that we face today, and it's definitely true on the issue of Iran and the IRGC, as I think I emphatically said in my presentation. To me, my whole point is that the best way to counter IRGC activities here, including the ones that you described, as well as multiple others, and I would really emphasize the transnational repression aspect against dissidents and human rights activists here. The most effective way to do that is targeted measures and using some of the tools at our disposal. It's very easy to dismiss concerns about resources, scarce resources, as despairing, but in the real world, resource constraints are real, and they prevent us from doing things that we should be doing. These resource constraints are absolutely severe. Therefore, I think targeted measures would be much more effective. Same thing on the issue of reputation. What hurts our reputation the most is not listing the IRGC. What hurts our reputation the most is the fact that we announce measures and don't actually enforce them. Which would be the case with listing the IRGC, realistically.
So the answer is listing IRGC as a terrorist organization in Canada is the only way and the most effective way to combat this. Otherwise, we're going to continue watching the same organization hurting and attacking Canadians' lives and the security and safety of Canadians every day. Is that correct?
That is not my position. My argument is that the most effective way is to use more targeted and surgical tools that we have at our disposal. That would be more effective and more resource effective.
Are you suggesting another infrastructure?
Nope.
So to go back to the infrastructure, how severe the infrastructure of IRGC in Canada, in your opinion?
As I emphasized in my presentation, the IRGC threat to Iranian Canadians and to other aspects of Canadian society and life is a severe threat, absolutely.
The amount of money laundering that you think they're involved in, any idea if there any estimation out there?
I have never seen a number in the public domain. I think there's a big problem, notably with the parking of financial assets, but I don't have a number.
If anyone to estimate the number of members involved here, in hundreds or in thousands?
You mean members of the IRGC?
Yes.
Again, in the public domain, I have not seen numbers at that level, so I'm not in a position to answer that specifically, beyond saying that it's a serious problem.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abel.